actually live on the with like voices on Twitch.
Right now, welcome everybody to the Anime4All podcast, or episode 4 for season 2 of this podcast. Before we move on with anything, I just found some information now that I wasn't aware of. We now have a subscriber on, like our first subscriber for this podcast. So someone out there is willing to listen to us talk about anime girls, specifically Froppy, and her how anatomically correct she's gotten over the course of these seasons. Um, for
Do you
anybody
think
who's
her toes are webbed?
No, because she has the flippers on her feet, and I think we've
She
actually seen her.
doesn't have webbed feet.
I think we've actually seen her not having wet feet. I don't think she has wet feet. I think we have seen that. Actually, I
You
know
could
we,
still have like skin between your toes.
but she wouldn't need the flippers.
Well, the flippers are still better than just skin between your toes.
But before we continue with this really random trial, which apparently is probably the reason why someone subscribed, I had no idea. I wish there was a way I could communicate with this person and figure out what the heck happened. But we are now live on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and Google Podcast. These are right now the only places that you can actually get us to, to download us and listen to us wherever you listen to your normal podcast. I am right now looking into other ways to have this podcast available. But right now, it's either live on Twitch, my YouTube channel, all the 3 places I just mentioned. I'd like to thank the person who subscribed to us because I wasn't expecting this. We also had like 1 download over the course of every day that I had an upload. So, thank you. I guess is the best way I can put it. Apparently, there was two downloads on day 1 of season 3. I mean, episode 3 of the podcast. So that's awesome. I don't know who this is, but. Yeah, okay, I guess we can move on from that. I just thought it was appropriate to say that now, since apparently we do have 1 person following us as the journey continues. Maybe at some point we'll be able to do more here. Also, disclaimer, I think we're going to be reviewing 3 episodes every other week. So this week, if you're here, if you download this expecting us to talk about Shaman King near the end, we unfortunately will not be talking about that. Next week, however, we'll be talking about the episodes 3 and 4 of Shaman King. So if you're not here for the My Hero Academia discussion, I understand, and you don't have to listen to us. But hey, I recommend you stay before you click that button. I'm talking to you.
You specifically.
Okay, this is episode 96 of My Hero season 5, I think. 94, I am completely. The episode's called Foresight. You can also tell the episode's name is My Yaoyorozu because this is essentially about Yaoyorozu. Well, the episode, her and Kendo are the main focus of this episode, but I'm just titling it this because it's kind of about her because they have a lot of flashbacks. But
it was a really good filler episode.
Moving on, that completely just, like I literally lost all train of thought.
If Froppy's not in it, it's a filler episode.
Most of this freaking anime is a Froppy episode. Moving on, I mean, most of the anime is most of the anime is a filler if it was not a Froppy, whatever. Let's see here. I guess while I got the episode open here, I'm gonna mute it too, so that way. We kind of cut back to we do cut back to after let's see here, trying to like remember this. We cut back to the gang after they got mushroomed is basically, I guess the best way to put it. They all got, the mushroom girl got to them all, and now they're all like teammates freaking out over this because they're trying to figure where the mushrooms are coming from. We find out the mushroom girl's quirk through the episode how it works. Her body creates spores, and those spores, depending on during the environment, they can grow really quickly. Sometimes they can grow really slowly. This is a very weird quirk. I thought it was supposedly hallucinogenic effects, but apparently they don't give off hallucinogenic effects. I feel like that should be a side effect, but I guess it's not.
Are you sure they don't? I
No,
thought there
that's what
was
he
one
said.
moment where
That's what that guy said. He said that they don't do anything. They go away after 3 to 4 hours, which is why she lets them
that's
out.
just
So
got to be because it's a kids show then, because they would definitely do something like that if that wasn't true.
I mean, it wasn't her that said it. It was that guy who I don't know his name.
Hmm.
He was talking with Vanetta when he was talking about the mushrooms. I'm seeing right now. I can go back to see what did he say. He's like, her mushrooms disappear within 2 to 3 hours, so there isn't any lingering effects. Okay, lingering effects. So maybe there's some effects that happen, but nobody says anything like they're hallucinating or anything like that.
Well, there's the moment where the guy goes, "Ahem, my throat's getting a little hoarse," but you don't know if he's doing it because he's yelling too much or if he's doing it because
I'm pretty sure that's because he's yelling too much. Because I feel like his quirk had to be vocal, because like he the comic dude, Comic Man, I think is what he's called.
He's only said like 9 words though.
He like when he's yelling those automatopoeias, I think they put a strain on his voice.
Yeah.
I think it's what it is, because he's yelling automatopoeias into.
I'm just gonna mute the tab with Chrome. I find Funimation has the worst user experience. It's just terrible. If there was any other equivalent service that had My Hero Academia, I'd probably just use that instead.
I'm using Verve.
Yeah, I know. But I do use it so I can watch.
You could just go to Crunchyroll, because Verve is just an offshoot of Crunchyroll, and they have a lot of anime, and My Hero's on there.
Oh my god, you cut me off. I was saying that I use Funimation because I've been watching My Hero Academia. I'm sorry, Dragon Ball Super in English as well.
Oh.
So it doesn't have the same thing. It's not fully equivalent to use Verve.
Well, I mean, they did have it on there, and then Sony separated it from Verve for whatever reason. I'm still very angry about that, but whatever.
It's very stupid.
Which is why I'm not paying Funimation. I'm not paying for an extra service to watch my anime, because I'm not gonna say what I'm about to say now, because if they could use this against me in the court of law, and I don't want to incriminate myself. But there are other ways I can watch dub shows, is what I'm gonna say.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, he's yelling automatopoeias into existence. They make a joke that I didn't tell you shit you got, but it's I think the Sugar Rush dude said, what would happen if he released them overseas? I believe that that's a joke in terms of the sound effects in Japanese are different over here. They don't translate well. And I think that means that either they don't know what kind of effects it would have if he were to yell like that over here, versus him yelling in Japan. I believe his quirk would be completely different if he was over here in the States. I believe that's what the joke is that they don't know what his quirk would do over here.
It's a very interesting and very versatile quirk, except that it seems like he is a little bit limited by how much he can use it. He doesn't have a lot of stamina. But
it's nothing really to do with stamina, it's just his vocal cords. And there's no way you can improve that.
Right, so the stamina, the reusability of his quirk is a little bit on the low side, given that he can only do it a few times, and it's not that high powered. Like when he does use it, like if he goes pow, like somebody falls backwards, but they're not exactly out of the fight or anything either, you know?
I don't know if it's like that limited. I feel like he was just like letting out big bursts of noises, because I feel like he was able to even do quieter noises, like the damp whoosh thing. That didn't really require too much from his own voice. The ones that did, he was doing crash, bang, and pow. Those ones he was just generating walls, which was a part of Kendo's plan, was to wall off Yaoyorozu. From there we get some interesting flashbacks. First we get the flashback with Todoroki and Yaoyorozu during their fight with Eraserhead, and he is saying that if they were trying to separate Yaoyorozu from the group, they deemed her as a threat, but that also means they probably misjudged her doing that. And he made an interesting point that if they really wanted to get rid of her, they should have all attacked her at once. Which is interesting enough that Todoroki is making that assumption. They would need more than just one person to take care of her. But I guess granted, like Yaoyorozu can generate just about any barrier she wants really quickly now because she can make multiple things at once now.
Right.
So defensively, it'd be a hard time. They'd be really hard pressed to get rid of her. But I guess Kendo figured that she could take her, which I don't know. She was right. But did that little flashback, and then essentially, Kendo is now going on the offensive, pretty much using what she saw from Yaoyorozu during season 2's tournament arc, where it pretty much Tokiyami was keeping her on the defensive so she couldn't do anything, and she made the foolish assumption of thinking that she could utilize that to her advantage, when in reality all she was doing was allowing Yaoyorozu the time to generate a giant cannon from her chest. Pretty much also doing a fake on her, like, because a lot of people are like, she gonna shoot that at her? That's gonna kill her. Deku's like, no, she's not. And without really saying much, we pan back to her. She swings the cannon around, which is kind of funny. I guess that cannon must not be that heavy.
I think they just kind of like didn't show the cannon coming out because it's physically impossible, and also boobs.
Well, I thought she swings the cannon around. In terms of like, when it pops out of her, it's like in one direction. But then, like, I guess from my point of view, it looked like she swung the cannon around effortlessly. Because I thought cannons are supposed to be really heavy. Because I mean, Kendo dodged. She moved the cannon a different direction from her and then shot the cannon over the wall.
Yeah.
It seemed like to me, it didn't seem like the cannon had that much weight to it. But I could be wrong.
No, you're right.
She could probably just be much stronger than I initially thought she was, which is also possible.
It could just be good old-fashioned anime exaggeration, though, too.
But pretty much Kendo thinks she's gonna try shooting her or shooting the wall with that. Ends up dodging, isn't thinking too much about what's happening at the moment, and then Yaoyorozu just shoots a lucky grab bag over the wall. Panning back to Tokiyami, because him and Invisible Girl are still dealing with the other group of individuals. I also forgot to mention that we didn't talk about Naval Laser at all last review. I completely forgot about him because he got kidnapped a couple of times.
Not one attack. He's just kind of a pawn. Like, everybody spends their time like kind of like trying to like either catch him or save him. He's sort of a pawn. Like, as soon as like he gets captured, like from that point forward, he doesn't really live out his. There's a lot of characters in this fight that I really feel like didn't live out their full potential. To be honest with you, Invisible Girl punches somebody a lot, and that's like the comic book character, and she punches him over and over and over again for a really long time, but like he's standing and just sort of like flustered at the end of the fight. And then the Mushroom Girl, like, it seems like there's huge opportunities for creativity with mushrooms and spores and things like that she doesn't take care of. Okay, so she can't get somebody high because, you know, the rules of animation, you know, wouldn't want drugs in the show. But I mean, there's other things that mushrooms can do than grow all over.
I want to say that I just think because none of the mushrooms that she was making, I think, could even get you high. I think the closest one that could get you high was the one that she activated in Tokiyami's throat, which we never saw how she did it. But I guess it's because the spores off of her body. But I believe what is her limitation. I don't know if she knows the kind of mushrooms she can make. She also a kid, and also that whole they don't want drugs on anime. That's not true. There's a lot of anime. Like, the anime is not really catered towards kids. There are some shows you can make the argument, but there are a lot of shows I don't even think you can make the argument here. It's mostly PG-13. But even that is kind of a stretch because you got characters like Yaoyorozu who are walking around with their boobs out. But I mean,
I don't know. I disagree. I think that straight up drug use or straight up giving a 14-year-old drugs of any type is probably not smiled upon by the censors. Let me finish. So there's other things that she could be doing with them too. Like spores can make clouds. Like there's spores that like can make things that are a lot like smoke. You could use them to be slippery. Like some, not all mushrooms are like dry looking and like perfect. Like some of them are slimy. There's like a lot of different things. Like you could make a big mushroom if you were able to do it. You know what I mean? And use that for something. I just felt like, I mean, the only creative thing she did, and it was like her special attack that they all seem to know was like her trump card, is when she grew a mushroom in someone's throat, which is how I interpreted that. That a mushroom just grew in the person's throat and was like kind of choking them. But like that seemed to be the only real thing that they did. She didn't even have them like grow to like cover someone's eyes or something, or like grow between your toes or something, make or under your feet or something, make it difficult to walk. Like they were just sort of random mushrooms growing around, and that was all there was to it. And I just think that she was sort of a wasted character. And then the guy that can hop in and out of darkness, he was probably begging for like some tech that could help him make the most out of that. I don't know, like a zip line or something that he could do popping in and out of darkness that would disorient, damage, or capture his foes. But he was just straight up his ability. Like he had no like support tech to help him out or anything like that. And then like Ninja Girl, Invisible Girl, like she could have had something. I know that picking anything up at all makes her visible basically, but like there's got to be something they could have done, like taught her some better way to punch or some sort of like grip, you know what I mean, that would cause someone to submit or something like that. But she just sort of like flailed all over him for a little while until Kendo finally like walked back and caught her, And Kendo like must have taken a good amount of time to walk back and catch her because she was dragging a cannon and an unconscious person, and half of her body was covered in ropes.
I mean, sure. A lot of these characters. I don't know. I'm not the biggest fan of Team B, even with some of these characters. The only one I would argue that I'm a fan of is this Big Fist or Kendo, but
Yeah.
because I don't even really like Momo that much. He annoys me just on the principle that he won't shut up.
Mm-hmm.
But like I'm not a huge fan. Even the Steel Dude, I don't really like it that much. Like I don't know. I mean, yeah, some of these characters, but as for that girl, I don't know. I really feel like if like because he's done some really dark things in the show. I highly doubt that like he would shy away from having her make a mushroom that can get high. Because I don't think any of those mushrooms that she made at the current time could make somebody high. So I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
It might have a lot to do with maybe she's not her quirk hasn't matured, because that's another thing too. A lot of these people's freaking powers haven't matured, and I don't think their powers would mature until at least they're 25. I think if we go off the whole when humans are at their prime type of situation, I don't think that anime would shy away from that. Because there's some things I would thought that they would have censored. Because I mean, I like to make a comparison towards something that's not anime. There's this game series called Xenoblade Chronicles, and the sequel game in that series too. Um, there's no secret to anybody who's probably listening to this, who watches anime, that there's a lot of girls in there, and the two main girls in that series, um, let's say they're very scantily clad, to the point where it's Mithra, her other personality, who doesn't really wear much, but then a shoulder revealing kind of, I think, cleavage revealing a dress. Her legs are fully exposed, but apparently when she was added into Smash Brothers, um, they censored the heck out of her. In the game. Granted, it's no secret that Sakurai doesn't. He only lets good little boys and girls into this game, which is like why my Shiranui from the Fatal Fury series, if you know who that is, you know what I'm talking about. Why she never made it in the game. Because of things with her. But I'm just saying, like, I feel like, to me, just like I don't know, it if it is truly they didn't want to give her a I mean, there's other mushrooms that could easily produce a hallucinatory effect. I don't think you need to make anybody high. If anything, you don't need. I don't think you need to make anybody high. I think even make people hallucinate, but not to the point where they're actually doped up on whatever kind of mushroom it is. I don't even know what kind of mushrooms that have that kind of effect on people. I know not just any mushroom can do that to you.
Cyclobin or something like that. Mushrooms. It's a specific. There's a variety, but there's one specific quote unquote magic variety that you see the most.
Well, I don't think she was making them, and I don't know if she could make them. On top of that, I don't know how much control she has over the spores that are coming out of her body, because she's
Mhm.
literally having. I think there's a scene where you've seen her spraying the spores out of a gun. So it's like,
Well, she seems to know that she can. She seems to know that she can create specific spots where they at least appear, because she was able to make that one specifically appear in the back of someone's throat.
well, I think you said like they grow faster in like damp places, and someone's throat is obviously going to be a damp place, and I think a dark place too. So like,
But the
but
point is that she said, "Okay, now grow there," and it grew there when she told it to.
a spore probably got into his throat.
Yeah, I'm sure it did, but like the point is still that she was able to choose when that was going to grow.
I don't.
Once with the proper situation, with the proper setup,
I guess she.
she
I
was
guess
like,
the way she made it seem like she did. She said, "I had to use it, or we were gonna lose." That's a
right,
decisive. That's a decisive decision that she made.
right. So she was able to decide, I want the spore to grow in this person's stomach. Yeah, I mean in their throat.
Well,
So
maybe
she should theoretically be able to have it grow in other places on purpose, right?
I mean, yeah, but she was having them grow all over their body. I mean, who's to say they weren't growing on their toes? I mean, everybody there was like, I don't think there's anybody in that group that wasn't wearing shoes. Except for physical, but that one time when she took her gloves off and her shoes off. But I mean, other than that, I don't think there was anybody in that group that wasn't wearing shoes. So the bottom of the feet wouldn't have been. I mean, well, I guess the bottom of a shoe, I mean, wouldn't be any different. But on top of that, I mean, like I think was it Momo? Yeah, Momo said that she doesn't have high combat ability, but she is scary. So that's also insinuating that she's probably got more we don't know about. And this is nothing more than a training situation. I mean, I think if she is hiding a high mushroom, she's probably been told not to use it. Again, you can also equate that to a censorship thing, but I don't know.
Yeah.
'Cause, I mean,
But
even
like I said, there are other
we,
things you can do too. Like you could have them grow on the bottom of someone's feet to make them slip, or grow on the floor to make the floor slippery, or you know what I mean. Like there's a lot of things that she could have. Seems like she could have done a little bit better than she did.
I mean, they were all over the floor too. I mean, there was various scenes where there were just mushrooms. I think there was a scene where you saw the entire floor turn into a mushroom sea.
Yeah.
So it wasn't like she was covering the entire area with as many mushrooms as she could. I feel like she was doing the best she could, considering that she's not a combat type, and right now Kendo was really the only one who went out of her way to attack somebody. I mean, the Shadow Dude. Well, I didn't take that back. I mean, the combat dude in the Shadow Dude did attack some people, but I mean, it wasn't like she literally went out there trying to take down Yaoyorozu, and that's probably what was a detriment to her in the first place. That she was so concentrated on making sure that the brain was separated from everybody else. That it's great. She really should have just told that guy, that Automatopoeia dude, to see if he couldn't make a sound effect that was floaty, get that could cover the box. I feel like that was kind of like a missed opportunity right there.
Yeah, he was underutilized. That's what I meant. They were just underutilized characters. The Invisible Girl could have been their scout. The Dark Shadow makes a good scout because he's fast, but Invisible Girl is completely undetectable. I think she would have been the better scout.
But she wouldn't have been able to get there fast enough to even be able to see where they're coming.
Well,
And there's always a chance that Kendall would have also thought about that too. So I mean, I don't know. Like, I think there's way. I think you can easily counter her versus really countering Dark Shadow. The only reason they were able to counter Dark Shadow is because they had that Shadow Wielder dude with them. If he wasn't there, Dark Shadow wouldn't have been able to be turned on them so easily. I mean, that's just the way I viewed that situation.
I know they seemed sure that they were going to send Dark Shadow over. I know hindsight's 2020, but given the obviousness of it, I think I would have thought about sending either one or both of them, like sending her as support. Dark Shadow could have carried her. You know, there's a lot of things that they could have done that were a little bit better than just Dark Shadow, go get him, you know, especially for Yaoyorozu, who's debatably the smartest of Class A. I think she's one of the top 3 at least. I would say that Bakugo is probably one of the 3 smartest, and Midoriya is smart in a different way, but I'd say he's in the top 3.
I mean, honestly, this episode was really Kendo versus Yaoyorozu, and them competing in terms of who can outthink the other one. And one of the biggest problems is that I think Kendo didn't have much on her, and I think that's kind of the biggest problem was that this is the only time they really even were in a confrontation with each other. Because any other time they were together, they were always on the same side.
Right.
All she could use was what she saw in the tournament, and that was like a year or so ago. I think in terms of this anime's time, I think that was like a year or so ago that happened. So all she had to go on was that. Todoroki makes a big point that after all this, I hope her self-worth doesn't get damaged, because that's what happened the first time when she lost to Tokiyami. Was her self-worth got damaged. I don't think that this would damage her self-worth, because she's learned to do what she's good at, which is like think like so far ahead. Like Kendo, one of the weird things about Kendo is like she can think ahead, but I really think it's probably because Yaoyorozu could think 10 steps ahead of somebody who can probably think 5 steps ahead. It was really weird. Great that it didn't help her in the long run, because Kendo was able to outstrength her. Just knock her out. I mean, that's kind of the other thing. If you knock somebody out who can think faster than you can, there's no point of being that smart. But
I think the opening move, even when Dark Shadow got there, like even before I knew what was happening, when Dark Shadow got there and I was like, "Ha ha! I found you now!" and like he was trying to like take them all on at once, I was like, "Are you kidding? Get that guy out of there now!" Like, why is the Dark Shadow staying and trying to take?
Told Dark Shadow to go report and come back. Dark Shadow, as we all know, is his own separate entity, which is really weird considering that he's a part of a whole. But like, I mean, I think that's what it really came down to, is that he made a decision to go right ahead with that when he shouldn't have. I will also make an argument that Tokiyama should probably have some way to sense what Dark Shadow was doing when he is that far ahead of him, so that he can pull him back just in case. But I don't know, maybe Dark Shadow can like not go back if he doesn't want to. There have been like multiple situations where Tokiyami and him act separate from each other, and it kind of makes me think. I wonder if there's a way that Tokiyami could literally sever a tie with him, and maybe he'd be out there for a little bit, and like do his own thing and come back. If he chose to come back, that's also true. But there's gotta be like a time limit. I mean, that's why I say there's gotta be like a time limit.
Shadow, and I was given like the freedom to do whatever I wanted, I would just go into the deepest shadows and become super powerful. And then once he's powerful, he's not compelled to do anything Dark Shadow says.
I guess I don't know. Like, I mean, those two seem like I don't think they totally ever truly 100% ever explain that quirk of his, because there's some things there's some aspects about that I don't understand. Like, I wonder like why does he have a bird-shaped head? Why everything else on him is human? What's up with Dark Shadow? Like, why is he coming out of his stomach? Because honestly, I thought it would make more sense for him to come out of his shadow, but maybe they don't want to do that. I don't know. I will say it's kind of funny that they utilized that guy's ability to go into shadows so easily against him, which was it made a lot of sense. Like, this stuff's something on him that he can go into shadows with and just like get control over it before he manipulates it. It was kind of funny. He's like, "You want to go into shadows, huh? Like, they're gonna put you in this cape and I'm gonna just hold you down." I will also admit that after he captured him and captured the mushroom girl, probably should have stood there, gawking around. So like, yeah, we won. Like you could have thrown them into a thrown them in thrown them into a jail cell. Even if she did make that much of popping your throat, you still would have won. I mean, you still would have gotten the points off of them.
Right.
Like Kendo could only carry so many people at one time, and when she got to them, she only had one hand free. Even though, I mean, I guess at the end of the episode too, she also mentions that they may have won, but it doesn't feel like she won. So it was one of
Yeah.
those things where like it's kind of funny because Yaoyorozu during that point when she pulls the cannon out, she's like, Kendo's she's acknowledged that Kendo acknowledges her as a rival and somebody she needs to beat. But Yaoyorozu says like she sees me in this light, but in reality I don't see myself in this light. And
Well, she's like my team won, but I don't feel like I did a better job than Yaoyorozu. Yaoyorozu had some pretty bad luck in a lot of that compared to the others. Like, it was right from the shadow, like, not following the orders. Like, that was pretty bad luck. But, I don't know. Things didn't go the way she'd planned them to. And everything went exactly the way Kendo planned it to. And Yaoyorozu was doing a better job of thinking on her feet and stuff like that, where Kendo had a plan A and a plan B. And plan B just worked out fine, and it built on plan A.
I think, I mean, yeah, I mean, a lot of things didn't go Yaoyorozu's way, but I think, I mean, yeah, this also goes to the point of her thinking on her feet. I just think she was prepared. Yaoyorozu was more prepared for her plans to go awry.
Yaoyorozu she was prepared to think on her feet, but like the idea of what's going on here, okay, they've separated me. I'm going to stall for time with these steel plates and send some. And if the point is that like they're separating me so I can't give my team a plan, then I'm going to send them a plan via this cannon and then slow down their brain and like tie up their brain. It was a really good plan because like she's like, I'm gonna do my best to take their brain away and give my team the brain, and then we'll just neutralize each other by me like fusing into her and leave it at that, and hopefully that'll be enough. That was a pretty good strategy. It's just that Kendo was able to kind of brute through and come back and one shot Invisigirl because Invisigirl wasn't very good at all. Once Invisigirl went down, Dark Shadow had two prisoners and too much to manage all at once already.
I mean, I think Invisible Girl probably should have stayed in the light era because, like I said before, her quirk kind of works similar to Mirio's. The only difference is, light goes through her and she should be reflecting light. Honestly, what the hell comes to the light is like light is refracting off of her body is why she's invisible. She really needs to learn how to shoot a laser. If she could learn to do that, that would give her an offensive attack. Because she doesn't have one. If she were to be able to learn to refract that light. But another thing too is like that kind of came up late in her development. It's like we didn't know light was really the reasoning why she was invisible to begin with. When we learned that out, and she was able to cause like a solar flare to blind everybody.
Do you think if she'd done the solar flare after she was grabbed by Kendo,
I don't think it would have worked because I don't think there was any light. I mean, maybe, but I don't think there was any light where she was. Because I don't think she can generate light, and Naval Dude's been out of commission at this point.
Yeah.
Like she would need some way to be able to like reflect light. Like she would need some I guess not a beacon, but like some way to have like a small like battery powered light on her as a last resort.
Yeah, that makes sense. So why did they lose? Why did Team A lose?
Well, they just weren't prepared for Mushroom Girl. That's really what it was.
They didn't turn the whole thing down that much. I guess it's possible.
No, because when Xiaodu they were already like Team A was already at disadvantage as it was before Yaoyorozu even got a chance to get her plan out to Tokiyami. Anyway, because naval lizard had been put into a jail cell. After all that, they managed to overturn the entire situation, but Tokiyami, being Tokiyami, let his guard down for a split second, only for that girl to plant a spore in his throat to make it grow. I really think that Tokiyami was like the crux of Yaoyorozu's plan, but unfortunately, because he was out of commission as soon as he was choking, uh, Kendo was able to sneak up on him and like grab Invisible Girl. Um, Honestly, she shouldn't have been standing there too, because all she was doing was wailing on him, and Kendo just snuck up on her, so she knew exactly where to grab.
Right, that's like so disappointing. Don't you think?
I mean, I don't know. I'm trying to think, objectively here, but at the same time, it's like, as I said before,
She just seemed like she did about as much damage as like a bird flapping in his face for a while.
I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that she's a girl and she doesn't have as much strength as a dude. But I feel like any guy who was invisible probably could have smacked him off on his butt and he just like knocked him out. For whatever reason, I just imagine her not open-handed slapping him, but like I guess how like a little sister is like punching her brother, like stop, leave me alone type of situation. That's what I imagine, because we can't see her, so we don't know what she's really doing.
Right. So what is she supposed to do if she corners a villain and like is actually given a chance to wail on him? This guy, the comic book guy, seems like he has no hand-to-hand combat ability whatsoever. But like, what about somebody that has like the most fundamental, or like, let's go so far as to say like a good amount of ability? Like, what is Invisible Girl gonna do? Spinner.
She could blind him. Like I said before, I say the whole my argument of like she does no light around could be invalidated as easily as saying that if her ability is reliant on light for her to stay invisible, how is she doing it when there's darkness around? So I truly don't even know how her ability really works. I just know that because she's able to cause blind people because of light, her ability has to have some like basis in the realm of light. Another thing too is that we're still dealing with, you're asking questions about something like in the future. I mean, granted, you're asking a question that could happen like 2 days in the future, but that's kind of why she's not there. Because I don't think the creator knows what he wants to do with her. It's kind of a situation where like he gave a character an ability, and now he's trying to figure out what he can do. But that's why I said to say like the whole her to take clothes off just to be able to be invisible. I really feel like she should be able to make things invisible. Which is like one of the things I said. I would say she should be able to help out other people at turning them invisible, but maybe she can't. I had no idea. So like I said before, she's only in everybody is a kid now, and their abilities haven't really maxed out yet. Look, most of them abilities haven't maxed out yet. Some people's abilities I feel like still have potential. I feel like hers could still evolve, because she literally learned she could refract light. So there's gotta be something else she can do. I don't know how much further Tokiyama's quirk can evolve anyway, just because it's its own entity. The quirk's alive.
The flight was a really good idea, though.
Yeah, I just still say it looks stupid.
It looks stupid, but it's a good idea.
I mean, it's not. I'm not saying it's not a good idea. I can't get over how stupid it looks. I feel like that could look so much better and so much cooler, because I feel like Tokiyama has the cool factor. I think you said that before. I think you said something that Tokiyama has cool factor. I guess some time ago. I forgot. I forget if you said that about him or not. But it just looks so derpy and haphazard. But I guess maybe that's the point of it, because he discovered that he could have that shell carry him and he can still fly. So
right.
Maybe he'll learn a better way to do that. But
also gonna throw out there that Kendo, in the previous podcast, I said that I was really looking forward to seeing what kind of new ability Kendo had, given that they did all this ridiculous amount of training that they kept talking about, but Kendo didn't show any new skill. She showed she's good, but she's not better than she was last time I saw her, as far as I can tell.
She says that as she's about to lay into Yaoyorozu, because she's trying to stop her from doing whatever she's trying to do, she made a comment that she was gonna enlarge her fist at the moment of impact. I don't know if she showed her she could do that before.
Hmm.
Because half the time I remember her hand just being big and her swatting things around, but I don't even remember if like one of the abilities she had was. Because it makes sense. Like, no matter like I'm gonna use Dragon Ball Z logic. It's like the whole Trunks situation where Trunks went Super Saiyan, Ultra Super Saiyan against Cell, Semi Perfect Cell. Well, I say Perfect Cell, and he couldn't hit him, even though Trunks. I think Cell said that he was definitely strong enough to hit him. He was strong enough to do damage, but he couldn't hit him because of how slow he was, because of how bulky he was. Does it make sense that like, why would you wave on this giant hand that someone could just have? You have a giant target flying about, so I guess that's the training that maybe that they were mentioning her. Another thing too is like she didn't display too much. I mean, like I said before, she could be hiding some of her true abilities later on. You never know. But
Yeah, I mean, she's smart enough for that, but I don't know. I didn't see any signs of anything. I was sort of just like bummed.
I mean, then again, I mean this show is about team class 1A, not class 1B. Um,
No, but 1B is validating 1A right now.
I mean, yeah, we also got to keep down the fact that 1A like they have like real world villain fighting experience. 1B doesn't. They for whatever reason they haven't had their classes. Well, I say for whatever reason, it's all because of the author of the show. Like he's making it so that they don't get their classes interrupted. But they haven't had a villain attack their class. Like, there's nothing more special about them that isn't as special about 1A. Like they're both capable of causing each other like a good amount of grief
Mm.
in a one-on-one fight. Some more than others, but it's one of those things where I just feel like I think like they're more there for contrast. Because you even got like Momo who, um, I don't even know who to compare that guy to. He annoys me so dang much, but nobody in 1A annoys me that much. I was gonna say Naval Laser, but yeah, Naval Laser doesn't annoy me that much. I say not at all, really. And Minetta's gotten better.
Nope.
You say that, but I disagree. But he's gotten better.
Nope.
Uh,
Minetta's the worst. The literal worst.
I disagree. But pretty much the end of the fight, one B has won. Their sensei who throughout this entirety of the first two fights has been showing bias, which makes sense. Uh,
Shameless bias.
hmm?
Shameless bias.
Who the heck is Shane? What?
Shameless bias.
Oh, sorry. I was
Bias
hearing
without-
Shane was bias. But I was like, who the heck is Shane? But I mean, I don't like Shameless. I mean, I think he's been Shameless for the vast majority of his appearances. I mean, even back when he was the teacher for them during the arc when Bakugo got kidnapped. I mean, it was quite clear that he I think what it is. I don't think he I think he might be Eraserhead's competitor. I have no idea. Considering Eraserhead doesn't he fights in the underground pro hero world. He doesn't fight in the over. I don't know where Vlad fights. So I don't know. It just seems like he doesn't like Eraserhead all that much, or at least he doesn't like Eraserhead's class.
What can he even do? Is he just like a brawler hero? Like, what is this?
Something about his blood.
Okay.
His quirk has something to do with his blood. I don't really remember because they definitely did reveal it, but I didn't see much of his quirk. I think his name is Vlad. Vlad, we're about to find out. His name is Vlad, alright. Huh. Don't see much about his blood control. Wears a gauntlet that can eject and reabsorb large amounts of his own blood. Enhanced strength and speed. can harden injected blood, allowing him to trap his opponent. It appears the secret is unaffected by levels of blood lost. Though normally, huh? He could just be a brawler. But as far as like the blood part, all it seems like it does is just allows him to trap people.
Oh, okay.
But if they know what the blood, if they know what the blood can do, they won't let themselves get hit by it. So there's also that. But that's about it here. And they're starting to prepare for the next round. I will say that 1B, I think really the big reason why you said this like last podcast is that they were doing so well, and I think the reason why they won is because they had more control over the area. 1A didn't. They were actually going head first into the fray there, instead of like taking into account their area. And 1B was just doing better about that. I mean, even the Spore Girl was making sure that she was hitting every single corner, as like the wave of mushrooms were just cascading the entire landscape.
That's a good point, because in the last match they won it by taking over the area too. Like when they turned the last match, the battle turned around when they started taking control of the battlefield.
Who was the first group again? Oh yeah, Sue, and the
Yeah.
Yeah, they took advantage. They definitely did take advantage of that. Also, was Sue's like sweat glands, who we're gonna move on.
The next group is a really interesting one for the next match.
Yeah, it's Ida, Todoroki. I should say Ida, Shoto. I gotta start making that destination because Todoroki is also named shared by his father because that's their last name. So it's Shoto. I forgot. It's those two, and then there's two other people in that group.
The tail guy and the multiple arms.
Oh, those guys. Okay. Well, I mean,
fairly
I think that I think his name is Shoji, the guy with the tentacle arms. I feel like he'll be useful in this area because he can make eyeballs that I think he can see pretty far too. The eyeballs in his limb.
I think they're just regular eyeballs. I'm guessing their scout character is going to be Ida, but it's not a very good group. I mean,
I don't know. I feel like this group's gonna be interesting to watch. I feel like it's gonna be a good group, mainly just because that Ida and Shoto have worked together before.
Yeah, I mean, Shota's going to be great. Like, Shota's a big hitter and everything, but Shoto has a little bit of a difficulty. He's not a natural leader. Ida thinks he's a natural leader, but in practice, he's not much of a natural leader. And the other two are the strong, quiet type, but also mainly physical heroes. So you've got a speedster, two like kind of interesting brawlers, with one of them being a little more versatile, and then you have Shoto, who I assume either Shoto or Ida is going to be the leader, but really, I don't know. I just don't see either of them being an especially good leader. I would imagine that the big tail guy would be a good leader because he's so level-headed and balanced and seems very sensible. But I've never seen any specific moment where he seemed exceptionally strategic or anything like that. Like, I've never seen him do anything that was like, wow, that was dude. There's not really a clear leader in this group like there has been in the previous two.
It's probably gonna be Shoto. Well, I just understand. I feel like this. I mean,
Ida's gonna want to be the leader, though. Ida's gonna want to be the leader. He's gonna be like, everybody go! And he's gonna be like,
I mean, I think they're all gonna listen to Shoto though, more than anything else. Because I mean, even Shoto had a. I mean, going back to the whole Shoto and Yaoyorozu thing. I mean, one of the main reasons why even Yaoyorozu was even to break out of her shell to begin with is that Shoto did give her encouragement to say that I'm listening. I know you have a plan. And maybe it's one of those things where maybe what Shoto will probably, I mean, they'll want to listen to Shoto, but maybe Shoto will give the reins over to Ida. But like, I don't think, I mean,
I voted for you because you're better than me, and he just watched her lose, so he's not very confident anyway in general. So I'm sure he's not feeling super confident about this, and he's got his own problems to deal with.
Yeah, but those problems have nothing to do with the fight that they're going through right now. He's just, learning, he's trying to He's just trying to like win this game that they're playing. Like I highly doubt. I mean, like he's that whole thing.
Hmm.
His whole inability to want to use the fire side. Well, not inability. His whole not want to use his fire power of his quirk. I don't think will have any real like any real effect. The only thing that probably would affect is the people they're going against. Maybe if they know that Shoto has problems with his father. Like
Who's going up against those four? Do you remember?
I don't think they showed them.
I think they did.
They could have. I could be completely wrong. I mean, I'm
They
about to
showed
find.
they showed all the pairings in the episode where the tournament started.
Well, yeah, I guess you got to go back to that point because they didn't. Hold up. No, I'm seeing just class 1A. There's a shot of Shinzo right there. Oh, Tetsu, the guy to steal. This guy with these black fingers. I have no idea what that's about,
Hmm.
and that's about it. That's all I saw. There's two
Mm.
other people, but I don't know who that is. Who the two other people that they got with them?
Even Tetsu's like a pretty tough opponent.
I don't know. I feel like he's gonna go down really easily. I mean, the only reason I think he probably wouldn't be that like if he managed to do something was quirk like Kirishima did. But I don't
Yeah.
know if he's realized what he wants to do with his quirk because Kirishima's just working towards now being a wall that can't be broken. I don't know if that's what Tetsu's gonna go after.
Hmm.
He
But I
could.
would say Shoto's the only one that I think feel like could definitely beat him. I don't know about Ida. Ida's like probably the closest next one, but I don't know what Ida would actually do in a fight against him because how do you break his defense? The other two, like what's the guy gonna do? Hit him with his tail?
I mean,
And
speed. I
multiple
mean,
arms guy doesn't really have anything to take on a brawler like of that caliber either. So I feel like Shoto's the only one. Shoto can pretty much take is a match for literally anybody in my
I don't know
opinion.
because I feel like I don't think there's nothing he could do to him either because he's just steal up and break through his ice. That's all he would have to really do. I don't think Shoto could move him.
Shoto's
If he if he
creative
if
though,
he
and
were
he's
if he were to plant
strategic.
him if he were to plant him, I don't think he could move him if he were to plant himself on the ground. If he were
I
gonna,
could see Shoto doing something like creating a slide and luring him into it, making him slide somewhere or something like that. Shoto would have a something that he could do. Like he would at least be a match, but the other three, I don't think so. I think it would have to take two of them to do something. Like one of them.
you're forgetting about his Wrestler Pro, Ida's Wrestler Pro. And I don't know how much more he's powered it because I think he changed out. He changed something out on his power. I think. I think.
Who?
Not Shoto, but Ida. Ida's like engine quirk. I think he might have tuned his quirk or something like that recently. I
Yeah,
feel like that was shown. Like he got it tuned. I think. But
I know he had rockets on it, but they have limited power. Like they're not reliable 100%. Like they burned out or something, didn't they?
the burnout like after a certain amount of use, but Vita's Ida's quite resilient. He's also really quick on his feet. No pun intended. But I also think he's also
No, I agree.
I think
I just think
I think he's smart enough to be able to do something. I mean, if anything, I feel like he could push if Shoto's gonna go the whole slide route. I don't think now Tessa I'm not saying he's like a genius, but I don't think he's that dumb to walk into a trap by icy hot. Especially if he's aware of his abilities and what he's capable of doing, because they've all seen what he can do. Todoroki at this point, I think he is at the biggest disadvantage because people already know what he's capable of because he's seen what he did in the tournament, and everybody's gonna be really wary of him to begin with.
yeah.
Granted,
I
we
could
also
see
seen
him
that being
just.
wary is
I
a
could
bad
see him
thing.
just creating a column of ice that like catapults him. Like he stomps his foot on the ground, a big thing of ice shoots up underneath, and the guy goes rocketing off. Like there's plenty of ways his ice could do something.
Yeah, I don't know. I just feel like because like he's like I feel like he could still break through all that ice even if he were to get surprised by it. That's just me. Like I said before, I don't know. I don't think he's all that bright, but at the same time, people who I've said they're not that bright tend to be smarter than I thought they were. And I don't want to like. As I said before, I'm not the biggest fan of Team B, So like I mean anything that they do that surprises me is a plus in the book of me when it comes to like opinions of characters.
Yeah.
So like I mean anything that he does at this point would probably surprise me. But I said before I don't really know what he. The only thing I could think that like instead of him becoming a wall that's immovable, maybe the metal in his body would make him heavier, so it'd make it harder to say move him or something like that. Because I know he has metal, and that's probably the route that they could go with him. Is that the harder he gets, the heavier he gets, and it makes it just like impossible to move him. It's like a different way
Yeah.
to look at Kirishima's unbreakable mode. Like he's become ultra heavy mode or something.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. That makes sense.
So I don't know if like sort of like, cause another thing too is like I don't want to count it out either because like Tokiyami said that Hawk said, and I mean you really can't count Hawks out too much because like I mean he is the fastest pro hero that we are aware of and behind All Might because All Might's retired, so like
Yeah.
he is the fastest hero that they have right now, unless none of the best units isn't fast because best units is strands. I don't even know. I don't even know how fast that bunny girl can go, but I think hopping doesn't count as running. So I think he is by far the fastest pro hero they have. So if he says like if like speed can trump strength, I believe him because Flash is a perfect example of this from the DC universe. Um, it doesn't matter like it doesn't matter how like I guess strong you are. If you're capable of delivering enough momentum into a punch, you can send anybody flying. Even Superman can be sent flying if you come at him fast enough and punch him. So that's one of the things I feel like if granted I know Ida can't go that fast because he just got the speed force on his side, but I feel like he can generate enough momentum if he tried, even with Recipro. I feel like he can still turn that stuff on and off. I don't know if he has to keep it on. I could be wrong about that too. Maybe he turns it on and he can't turn it off until it burns out. So I don't really know. I don't really know. I don't want to count because like I like every hero. I like every hero in 1A that's shown what they're capable of. Some more than others, but I just like finding out what they're capable of doing. Because like some things I didn't think about what they like Kirishima for instance. I didn't think it was a good idea to like from All Might to tell them that do what you're good at, which is like hardened to the point where like no one can like send you flying or whatever. I mean that was an interesting idea. Didn't think about that. Like I always thought like a hardened equip was kind of lame, but when you really think about it, like if you can get harder to the point where like no one can phase you, that's a smart way to look at your quirk. It also boosts other aspects about you too, so you're not just like making your skin harder. So it's one of those things where every character's got something that they're good at doing. And you just need to focus on it.
Hmm.
At least about it. I don't think there's like much more.
I think you pounded it out, my friend.
Apparently, had What Is Love playing in the background. Hopefully, that doesn't get us copyrighted.
What is love?
It was low in the background, so maybe they will pick it up.
There's nothing playing in the background. Jeremy, are you okay?
Dang it, Chuck.
I literally can't hear anything. I have a doubt that anybody
No, I
else
mean
can.
the thing is, I have music in the background, like on at least my side, it's playing through OES. That's why you can't hear anything. But
Don't hurt me, no, no.
well, it's not playing anymore. But
Yeah, it's playing for me. Give me a sign. What is love? Love, baby, don't hurt me. Don't hurt me. No, no.
with that, I'm gonna say that I think we're gonna end it off here. Next week, taking a hint from you this time, versus trying to push past it. Next week we should be reviewing the next episode of My Hero, along with 2 more episodes of Shaman King. So if you're here for that, I'm sorry. And apparently Google has heard me say okay and is now recording everything that I'm saying. As I'm saying it right now, it is writing down everything I'm saying right now. I'm literally seeing it constantly filling out what I'm saying right now. It's getting really weird.
Jeremy,
I
are
also
you high?
No, I'm not high.
You listen to hearing strange music?
This is very weird. I'm going to end it off here. Thank you for the person who subscribed to our podcast. I hope that we didn't scare you away. Thanks to the people who are downloading it. I will be looking at other outlets for our podcast to come out on. I will try to have these things uploaded onto those outlets the Friday of the week prior to our next live broadcast. If we have to cancel any days because of anything, oh, I just remembered that you gotta get your shot on Saturday, right?
What?
Second COVID shot.
Yeah.
I don't know how we're gonna feel because I'm gonna get my shot the same day as him. We may not be recording next week if we get.
What if we just use the fusion technique?
We may or may not be live next week on Monday, if at all. Because I don't know how I'm gonna feel after that shot because I'm terrified. There's like literally as we're recording this, there's like 4 days in between the next shot. Yeah, a lot of people have saying that they've had really horrible side effects. They don't feel like doing anything. Terrified of those side effects because I haven't had. There's a reason why I don't take shots. I don't like getting sick or feeling sick. But I guess with that, we'll play things by ear. See you guys then.
Floppy Rick.